As we edge closer to the European Championships, the question on everybody's lips is, can Scotland win Euro 2020? In this video, we're going to see just how far they can go in this summer's spectacular. Right, folks, back once again with another video. Today, it's all about Euro 2020 as we take a look at a nation's hopes of the tournament this summer. We'll see just how far they get, of course, in my eyes, when the tournament kicks off in June. We'll talk about that in a minute. Of course, a big shout out to the VIPs, the patrons behind the scenes. Thank you for your continued support. I do appreciate that, guys. And of course, if you want to join yourselves, check out the links down below, patreon.com/. But today, it's all about Scotland. That's right, boys and girls, and hopefully by the end of this video we'll be able to answer two questions. Can Scotland win Euro 2020? Will Scotland win Euro 2020? Well, I can already probably tell both of those to you right here, right now. But anyway, doesn't matter. We are there. Scotland made it. Absolutely fantastic. And I'll be cheering them on. I will be, of course. I'll be backing these over the likes of the English, over the likes of Croatia, over the likes of the Czechs. I'll be there. I'll be rocking the shirt and everything. I'll be willing them on. It'll be like Braveheart sort of style, because we don't really stand a chance. If we're going to be brutal with you, we don't stand a chance. But you know what? I think that's the best way Scotland should approach this. So let's take a look at, of course, how Scotland got there to the old Euros, of course, as they finished in third place out in Group I. That's right. And they had a very, very difficult encounter. They won just 5 games of their 10, picking up 15 points. But you know what? They managed to get through via the playoffs. I do recall this. I actually watched their first match. I think it was against Kazakhstan, when they got embarrassed 3-0 by the Kazakhstanis, which cost, I think, Alex McLeish's job. Up stepped the new man in charge, matey boy, what's his name? Steve Clark, now pulling the strings these days. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so they managed to seal the deal on the 12th of November, just a year after everybody else had done the deal. Of course, they had to wait, postponement from COVID, and we'll take a look at that playoff path that they got themselves through. This will be their third Euros as a whole. Of course, their last was all the way back in, of course, 1996, when again they took on England as well. Goodness gracious me. And also 1992 as well. They're not having any success at all. So, yep, Steve Clark is the man pulling the strings these days, and the most valuable player for Scotland is, of course, left-back wonder, Champions League winner, Premier League winner, Andrew Robertson, of course. But also you got another similar left-back, Kieran Tierney's decent, Scott McTominay as well. Also John McGinn in midfield. Of course, they'll be relying on their midfield generals. And, of course, Che Adams recently converted to the Scottish lineup as well, so he could also make the Euros as well. What about, of course, their passage to the final? We'll take a look at that in a minute, or now. Are we looking at that now? So let's take a look at their record overall first, and then we'll take a look at their passage through the playoff. So this is their record, of course, not the greatest, but you know what? They made it. They made it. They're alongside the likes of North Macedonia as well. Not the worst ranked nation, or not the worst performed nation. They finished 29th overall. Better than North Macedonia, better than Hungary, better than the likes of Romania as well, who didn't make it. But of course, so worse than Kosovo, worse than Norway, worse than Iceland, and even worse than Ireland, of course. But guess what? Scotland are there, and they'll be there to celebrate, of course, hopefully to kick on onwards and upwards, and hopefully this is a turning of the page for Scotland. But let's revisit those, of course, those playoff matches. They did finish as high as 25th in the old Euro rankings here, whatever this means, I don't even know. And then they took on Israel, and of course a playoff encounter, and they actually got through that on penalties, their first ever penalty shootout ever in Scotland history, and they came out on top 5-3 on penalties. Then they took on Serbia. They actually drew 1-1. I think they took the lead on that one. Serbia got a lastminute.com equaliser. I thought it was over, boys. I thought it was over. I thought Scotland were going home. And again, another penalty shootout. And again, 2 for 2. Scotland loved penalties. Absolutely loved it. 5-4 on the end. And they went through. Goodness, and I'm happy days. I'm so happy for them. And now if you look at that playoff, Israel, Norway, Serbia, all, well, maybe not Israel, but definitely Norway and Serbia, they are decent nations, boys, because they are decent nations that would do okay. I think they would do okay in this year's. Would they actually do better than Scotland? Perhaps. I think they might. They think they've got more, better personnel at the moment. Norway have, and Serbia have some really good players as well. But hey, Scotland there. They've got a good team ethic, a great manager, I think, now in Steve Clark. Definitely the right man to lead them into this era of Scottish football. But what about their chances in their group? Well, let's have a look at that group. Of course, it is Group D. Of course, alongside fellow host nation England, of course, and against also former World Cup finalist Croatia, and of course the Czech Republic as well. What about their fixtures, of course? Yes, well, Scotland are one of those host nations, of course, and 2 of their 3 matches will be at home, so that's giving them a bit of an edge over the likes of course, Czechs and the Croatians, of course. But England will have 3 matches at home, so that will give, and that will be the including the England versus Scotland match on the 18th of June. Of course, Scotland currently ranked 48th in the world, and once ranked as high as 13th. As well. They'll be based out of where they're going to be based out of. They're going to be based out. They don't know yet. It's not confirmed where they're going to be based. Probably Edinburgh or Glasgow, of course, for the time being. As for their key match for me is the Czech Republic game. Why? It's match day number 1. It's match day number 1 for them. Get themselves up and running. It will be in Scotland as well. And if they can get 3, if they could pick up a win against the Czechs, I think it's a reasonable shout. I wouldn't look at that too strangely. And you know what, Scotland to beat the Czechs? Yeah, I think there's a chance that Scotland could beat the Czech Republic, especially considering it's in Scotland. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a rampant victory if they're going to win it anyway. It might be just the 1-0. It might be a penalty. It might be a free kick. It might be a corner. It might be a handball. Whatever it is, 10 men. I don't know. Something. A little bit of luck, and I'm just saying Scotland, if they could get any of that luck and get the 3 points, they have a chance to go through to the knockout stages. They'll be pinning their hopes on the best 3rd place runners-up spot. I think that's their best hope in here. England will probably win this group. Croatia will probably be 2nd, and I think it is a straight-up shootout between Scotland against Czech Republic. And if you're going to win, if you're going to get through, you've got to beat. It's like in a relegation match. You've got to beat those in and around the relegation zone. Scotland have to beat the Czechs. They beat them or get. At the worst, if they get the win, guess what? They'll believe that they have a chance to get through to the next stages. If they get a draw, you know what? They're in it still, and then they're going to be looking to pick up a draw against maybe Croatia again in Scotland. So they have a chance. It's not all doom and gloom. It is not doom and gloom for Scotland just yet. But what about, that's what I think about the Scots. What about the bookies then? The bookies actually think they're 5-4 to qualify. That's not the greatest odds. And what are their odds to win it? 200 to 1. They are one of the massively underdogged teams, unbacked. Can they do a Greece? Can they do a bloody Denmark? Not really. Not really. Of course, I'd love to see it. I would love to bloody see it. I would love to witness something like that. But could they, you know what? Could they do a Wales maybe? Could they do a Wales and make it to the semi-finals? Or an Iceland, and you know, they could, and because of the fact that you're in a group such as this, where England are probably your favourite team, Croatia will probably be your second, and you've got a chance realistically to get to the knockout stages if you beat the Czechs. You never know. Once you get to those knockout stages and those penalties, Scotland are unbeaten in penalties their whole entire penalty-taking career, even though it's only 2 games. You know what? You just don't know. They could do an Iceland. They could do a Wales. But realistically, can they win it? No. So they won't win it, in my eyes. But what about my odds? Where do I think? Really deep down, I'd love to say that they'll get out of the group stages and into the second round. But unfortunately, I think they will, unfortunately, for them, tumble out. I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to just say, yeah, Scotland will do it. I unfortunately say that they're going to tumble out in the group stage. And I think they could still finish 3rd and be one of those unlucky nations that will tumble out despite finishing 3rd. Because maybe they drew all 3 games, or they won 1 and they lost the other 2. So a draw, a win, just 3 points might not be enough. I think 5 points guarantees you to go through. 4 points is a bit of a guess. You just don't know. But anyway, that's what I think about Scotland. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. There you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. If you agree or disagree, let me know your opinions out in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, check out the description. I've got links to my other social media platforms. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitch, and I'm even on Patreon if you want to support the channel in another way. Again, we'll be covering the tournament extensively over the summer. Of course, we've got watch-alongs, previews, predictions, of course, all of that stuff, and many more. So make sure you, of course, smash your subscribe, and while you're at it, give the video a big old fat thumbs up. Again, I'll see you all very soon for another one tomorrow. Until then, well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. Of course, we'll have exclusive coverage for Euro 2020 over on the channel. Of course, we'll have match previews, match reviews, of course, watch-alongs, and all kinds of stuff, including predictions as well. No. Well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. If you agree or disagree, let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, check out the description. I'm on Twitter, Twitch, Well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. Of course, if you agree or disagree, let me know your opinions out in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, make sure you check out the description. I've got links to my other social media platforms are on there. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, on Twitch as well. And if you want to check me out at Patreon, you can check that out as well. Also, exclusive and extensive coverage of Euro 2020 this summer on the channel. We'll have, of course, previews. We'll have predictions, of course, watch-alongs as well. And, of course, we might even get a reappearance of Cass, the predicting cat, the real cat, not DigiCass. But, of course, lots of stuff on the channel. So make sure you give the video a big old fat thumbs up while you're at it, and of course make sure you smash the subscribe. Until then, I'll see you all very soon for another one. Until then, I'm out.